when you talk about war, there is a sort of a repetition of words from the Prime Minister. He would avoid that. He would use word Global South. The Prime Minister, in his multiple speeches and multiple forums, even today in ASEAN, he would talk about renegotiating broken multilateralism. He would talk about making the decision making at the highest levels of multilateralism transparent, not opaque, not subjective. But then the Global South has its own agendas. The poor countries are in mode of coming to a place where they can say, well, we are almost developed. But then they are saddled with climate change, the carbon cost, development which is not taking into account poor people. And I think that's the biggest challenge. And if you look at the agenda of G20, if you look at the things, the ceremonies that have been organized in India, I think we have been able to chaperone the idea of Global South properly in context of carbon, climate change, and our priorities.
Yes, certainly. We being the voice of the Global South, we have sharpened, we have articulated the needs of Global South, that food security, carbon print, then of course arms race, and not only that, women-led or women-centric development, and employment for youth, water, all SDGs. So we have been able to tell clearly the Global North that these are the problems, these are the issues being faced by Global South, and for those issues, Global North is equally responsible for creation of these issues, if not more. And therefore, it becomes Global North responsibility to mitigate, to transfer the technology for mitigating these problems that the Global South is.
But we seem to be getting a lot of things from the North, even if we say that this is our priority, you had this birth of ChatGPT. Suddenly in newsrooms, the talk would be, do we really need to hire so many people, when we have got an AI to write the basic stuff? That's taken care of. Then suddenly, you have this digital transformation, you have robotics, good technologies, but in demography-dense countries, how do we respond to these challenges through our priority, which we call Global South?
You see, the good technologies that you have mentioned, robotics, etc., they, to begin with, they are...
And there is AI also,
Yeah.
And the writers should be worried.
They are for the people who have access to it, or who are very well aware of it, while most of the population of Global South is not. So right now, what we should do is what Global South needs first, like education, like clean water, like environment protection. These things are the basic things for people, because somebody has very rightly observed that I don't know what will be the issue for the World War III, but World War IV is going certainly to be fought on water. So these priorities, these scarcities that we are facing, food security, fertilizer security, these things are of priority to Global South people, majority of whom don't have access to all those digitized AI or you can say internet or robotics, because that will come, that also is needed, but that will be later stage. Right now, top priorities first.
Okay, Mr. Gupta, my question here is that when we talk about Global South, India also the countries from Global South gets a lot of lecture in context of the war, in terms of gas consumption, in terms of the consumption of the natural resources. But then, if you look at the consumption pattern of countries like Germany, Greece, their appetite for the oil has not gone down. India gets to, not hectored is the word, because we don't get hectored, but the lecturing takes place. That we need to stay away from such consumption patterns. But on the other hand, the Global North has not changed that behavior. They have not changed that behavior. Their consumption patterns remain high. Their carbon footprint remains high. Individual carbon footprint of an American household is 10 times higher than that of an Indian household. I mean, so that's the difference, you know. It's unimaginable if you find houses in Noida to be globally heated. You go to any small town in Midwest America, every house is heated, you know. These are not things to be trivialized. It tells you that we are carbon light. But the important point here is, can G20, I would say, become the place, arena, I know it's a gladiatorial word, arena, to negotiate all these things? Can it become that place?
Yes, you rightly pointed out that the way India has moving forward in terms of articulating of issues like like climate change, and we have seen this northern hemisphere has miserably failed to protect the Bretton Woods institutions. In the Paris Agreement has been miserably failed by the withdrawal of the US. We have seen this, and again joining and the rejoining. So it indicates the lack of commitment towards the global institutions and the global governance. So this is an important point. This is a very important juncture that India has to show the commitment, the kind of commitment of a multilateral order, and that is why our Prime Minister has shown its commitment to diversify this multilateralism. One. Second point, I would like to add the digital public infrastructure. India is ready to show that yes, India is very happy to showcase its digitalization, and we are ready to payment for 1,000 rupees for the foreign delegates. So this is somehow the core area of the G20 is the public digitalization process, and this digitalization process is again a showcase for the global south, because all the countries are not in a position to emerge as a technological infrastructure.
Okay.